Good morning, everyone. My name is Carol. I'm going to be the host of Education Talk, and the title is What Kind of Teaching Methods That You Use in the Past? So let's welcome our guest. Hello, Miss Icha. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. And hello, Miss Reni. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Okay, I'm so happy to have you in these educational talks. So let's jump into the topic. What was your teacher teaching methods at your school? How about Miss Icha?
Um, Talking about school, I have my favorite teacher, my favorite English teacher in my junior high school. So she is Miss Rita. She usually using GTM and Desuggestopedia in my class. So far I observed she use it. She always told her class to sing a song in every meeting. Uh, Whether it is in the opening or in the closing of the class, she always told her class to sing a song. And even our final assignment is sing a song in groups. And the song is from my teacher. She decided the song, not 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 the student can decided the song what they want to present. And she also told the student to translate the song, and I think in this activity the GTM is applied, and because we can see that the student have new vocabulary as me, and she always provide tools for the class. So she printed some picture, and then related the picture is related to the class. I think it makes the student easier to remember the vocabulary that they already got, and the class is always in the comfort situation, in the enjoyable, because uh, she always playing a music when she explains something, or when she saying dialogue, she always playing music. So I think it is very good of my English teacher. This is why I just her the favorite teacher in my junior high school. I think that's all.
Okay, thank you, Miss Icha. How about you, Miss Reni? What was teacher teaching methods at your school?
Oh, yeah. I will divide it into two. First, in my junior high school. Second, in my senior high school. When I was in junior high school, there's a lot of teaching method that the teachers use because every year my English teacher will be changed. But the only thing that I can identify is one of my teacher used um, GTM, grammar translation method. So the teacher will say, okay, class, open page number 10 and then read. After that, you have to translate it into Indonesian language. Uh, and at the end of the class, please come forward one by one and tell me five of those new vocabulary that you have learned today. Of course, the instruction using Indonesian language, our first language. The teacher is not using target language on that time. And the other teacher use a direct method. The instruction is using English and so on. But I found it quite difficult when I was in junior high school. After that, when I was in senior high school, my teacher always use PPP, PPPP all the time. It's like presentation, practice, production. And for me, it's quite good because it's scaffolding and organized. We can see the teacher presentation as an input and then practice together. And usually the teacher will correct us directly if we have some mistakes, and then after that we are going to practice. So it's like it's pretty organized for high school students. I think that's all.
Okay. Is it efficient, do you think?
If we talk about the efficient or not, okay, we also going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages, right? So okay, I will divide it also into two, from the student's perspective and the teacher's perspective. From the student's perspective, on that time we don't know what is the teaching method that used in the class. So we just like, okay, whatever the teacher say, we're going to do that, right? Is that true? And GTM on that time, it's for from the student point of view. Yeah, we just follow the rules what the teacher said. But now I realize it's not quite good for students, because we are going, the advantages is we can learn a lot of vocabulary. The disadvantages is on that time we just focus on reading and writing, reading, writing, reading and writing all the time. We never explore our speaking ability and our listening ability. So it's pretty hard. And sometimes the vocabulary is not an authentic material that we use in a daily life. Okay. And about the direct method, it's pretty cool. It's pretty good method though, but yeah, the advantages is we can communicate using the target language all the time, right? But the disadvantages is sometimes there are the students that have what they're not really able to speak in English because their grammar is not that much, and their anxiety in speaking with someone using English, it's become the problem or the disadvantages, I think, because they prefer to be quiet because they do not understand how to asking question in the target language. When I in senior high school, PPP, it's quite good for me because PPP to it's you PPP usually teacher centered and it's for beginner level. So PPP it's a pretty good I think because we can first we can learn, the second we can practice, and then the student there will come to us and tell us directly if we have mistakes on writing a grammar or using grammar and so on. After we're going to practice, and on that time the best practices that my teachers give is the topic is related to our daily activities, like what is your memorable experience and explain about tourism place and so on. I think PPP is good for the senior high school students. Yeah, I think that's all, Miss Carol.
Okay, thank you. How about you, Miss Icha? Is it efficient, do you think?
Um, the efficient, talking about efficient, I think what my teacher have done, it's already good because as we can see for the junior high school student, we can see the advantages. The student will familiar with how to pronounce the words, speak and read it, also know the meaning of some or even new vocabulary. And the disadvantages, I think, is student will don't really know how to use it in daily life and the context of use because the student only focus in the vocabulary. And I think about the efficient in the general, we should take a look the learning objective and the material course because from material course and also we can see from the student what we're gonna teach? Is it to beginner or what we should see? Because it also it will we can we can see what method is really useful for the material course or learning objective. I think the efficient is depends. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Miss Icha. Thank you, Miss Reni. If you become your teacher, which methods that you use? How about Miss Reni?
Oh, okay. If I become the teacher, back to when I'm in junior high school and high school student, senior high school student, right? It's pretty hard to decide for me and for my opinion because I believe that every teacher has their own teacher's belief, right? But there's some point that we need to consider before we apply the grammar method that we are going to use in the class. Like we need to know this who is the student first. Is it high school student, junior high school student, or elementary school? We don't know, right? And the second is their English proficiency. And if I back become the teacher to my when I was in junior high school and uh, senior high school, I will prefer PPP on that time because I think it's pretty organized and it's quite teacher centered. But I will change the material into the authentic material that my students uh, always use in a daily life, so their English will be improved. I think that's all.
Okay, thank you, Miss Reni. How about you, Miss Icha?
Like Mr. Rani have said and what I have mentioned before about the method is I think it depends on the student, like what Mrs. Rani have said from the efficiency, the learning is depends on the student from their ability and learning objective. I think it depends. But if I can back to my teacher, my favorite teacher, uh, I think GTM and Desuggestopedia is already good because I think it is enjoyable for junior high school student, but I want to make the student understand more about the context, not only focus in the vocabulary. I want my student to be know the content and the materials of my course. So I think I will add PPP just like Mr. Rani have said. It is organized and teacher center because I think for junior high school or for beginner learner, it is very important to apply the method which is teacher center because they don't really used to develop the material. They still need uh, the explanation from the teacher. So maybe I will add PPP. I want to presenting first about the material and explain it. Maybe the brainstorm can be by using the singing a song that Mrs. Rita of my junior high school have done, and then in the practice we can use the song again and translate it in the Indonesian word. So the students still have the new vocabulary that is related to the topic and the song. And then the production, I will give the written assignment. I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have learned many things about learning methods in the past. Thank you, Miss Icha and Miss Reni, for coming and sharing about the teaching methods that your teacher has taught. It's so inspiring and we learned a lot today. Okay, I think that's all. I hope I can see you in another time. Okay, bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.